Hello and welcome to this video. This is a little video I want to do. Rights of Man have obviously released recently, and I want to give a little rundown of my experiences with it so far, and of kind of how this game went down. My first kind of game with it. I've got about 1,300 odd hours in EU4. The problem is most of those were like vanilla time when the vanilla game launched, so I've gotten considerably worse at this game over time, but I really do enjoy still playing it. I'll do like a campaign now and again. But yeah, this game I obviously played as Great Britain, and I think it went fairly well. I'm third overall in score, and I'm considered the greatest great power in the world, with about 3,000 development, just 50 short. It's 1763. I kind of decided I'd call this campaign an end after that. I didn't really know where else to go. It would just mainly be clean up, and of course this is still like 300 years of game. But yeah, this game was a fun one. As you can see, Super Spain happened, where Spain effectively inherited the Low Countries, which they seem to do a lot now. A hell of a lot they seem to inherit the Low Countries. And then proceeded to bonk France as Donkum, and I came in as well. As you can see, Paris is a lovely English city. And yeah. Basically, the start of this game went just as planned. You know, England, I expanded into Ireland, puppeting all of the new miners from Mare Nostrum, I believe. And then puppeted Scotland so I could diplomatically form Great Britain. Austria, I was allied with Austria, and us two together were the ones fighting France. And yeah, as you can see, France does still exist. But yeah, that was pretty much the experience in Europe. I also gained all of the islands from Norway, and as you can see, Norway no longer exists. Sweden was able to form Scandinavia, so that's a pretty strong Scandinavia. Poland early on was in a lot of problems, and in the recent 60 years they've kind of been re-rising again, taking land from Brandenburg and over here, as well as putting the hurt on the Russians. The Russians had a pretty good game this game. Let's go into diplomatic mode. I was allied to them for a long time, but as in the past 60 years, that alliance broke when they got attacked by the Ottomans and Poland together. But yeah, as you can see, they used to own all of this land here and all of this, and I believe they did at one point have most of Novgorod. But the resurgent Sweden came back and has basically been feeding Novgorod. The HRE makes interesting looking. That's English Parliament. The Catholics won the League War in this game, so you have to be a Catholic to be the emperor. They only managed to pass one reform. As you see, some of these electors look normal, but then Hungary's an elector. Hungary joined the HRE because they got killed hardcore. As you can see, they got crushed by Poland, crushed by Austria, crushed by the Ottomans. And so their capital is in right next to Prague. So these two little guys down here are Hungary and Bohemia. And also there's a province of Hungary down here as well, in Bosnia. So there's only so there are no Hungarians, there's only Czechs and Bosnians, which is pretty cool. The Palatinate had a good game, and also some of the electors like Bremen, some other people. As you can see, the Pope had a good game. He nearly formed the Kingdom of Heaven. He was doing pretty well until Austria ate Venice. And Genoa has had an amazing game, managing to capture Sardinia, as well as holding onto these islands next to the Ottomans and maintaining Crimea. So Genoa's had a pretty damn good game. Spain's had a good game. Portugal's been my ally most of this. They've been my good ally, good friend since the beginning. And then, of course, the Ottomans have done great. That's kind of a little overview of Europe. And while we're in Europe, I'll talk about the new institution system. Now, most of you will know, all of you will know, that the new institution system is effectively how technology works now, that you need to embrace them to stop having a tech penalty, which means that naturally, as institutions take longer to spread to different parts of the world, they have higher tech penalties. It's a much better system, in my opinion, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. So let's take a look at the institutions and where they spawned this game. Okay, so at the start of the game, of course, Europe was all feudal, and the Renaissance was founded in the Ferrara, and then it spread out, and as you can see, nearly everywhere has the Renaissance. No, that's the wrong way to say. Everywhere has the Renaissance. Absolutely everywhere. And after that, obviously, came colonialism. And luckily for me, I got colonialism in Scotland. So I was the birthplace of colonialism. And that was great in the early colonial period. And you get colonialism by discovering the New World, or you can at least. The next institution to spawn was the printing press, and that spawned in Thuringian, or Saxony, and that was an interesting time trying to get this one as Britain, because I was planning on going maybe reformed, but when I saw that Protestants grew the printing press quickly, and I wanted to kind of grab an edge over my rival for the whole game, the Ottomans, who were just constantly coalitioning me and constantly attacking me. As you can see, there's an Ottoman army in bloody Cumbria right this second. I thought that I would go Protestant, and it worked out very well. The next one is global trade, and this spawned in Genoa. I was really surprised. I thought that it would spawn in either here or Sevilla, but I've been having a lot of issues in trying to gain full control over the English Channel node, because of course all of this bloody Spain. There's so much bloody Spain here. So it was pretty much a nightmare. Look, there's privateers and Spain are in here, and Utrecht are doing great. But yeah, there's no Dutch nation. The Dutch rebellions never happened this game. Yeah, institutions. These are really fun for like embracing and playing around with tech. Manufactories spawned in Copenhagen. I was really surprised that it was already killed by Scandinavia. And also, I'd been investing super bloody heavy in manufactories. I had manufactories basically all over my country. And then finally, the Enlightenment spawned in Berlin. And there's not much more to say about that. That's the final institution. And let's see where that spread. Yeah, that's still spreading over here, and still spreading over here. But anyway, yeah, I thought that in this game I would go for a Conquest of India achievement. I hadn't done the Master of India achievement, well, at least not in Iron Man, and I did do it this game. So what I started off doing is I colonized, I captured all of Britain, discovered the New World, made little tiny Canada, like over here, and then I immediately set about getting around Africa. So I colonized here, and then I colonized South Africa, and then I started colonizing the Indian Islands. And I also started colonizing these Spice Islands, but unfortunately, because of massive coalition wars and stuff, I've lost control over most of them. But yeah, I did manage to actually capture all of India. And what I can tell you about this is it was hard as balls. It was really hard. In the early days, it was super easy. I managed to capture, like, probably up to here in India. Absolutely no problem. But then, because of adjacency, they were getting all my institutions, and their tech started to skyrocket up to mine. And that got scary, because they were bringing a hell of a lot more men than I was at the time. and also, my aggressive expansion is so high. I'm at like 200 and 100 with some of these people. And with the Ottomans, I'm at 76. So yeah, that's why the Ottomans kept forming coalitions. They kept on getting aid from my Indian conquests. But then Ming don't care. Ming have no aggressive expansion with me. And basically, the guy that rose up in India was Malwa. Malwa was bloody huge and had 2 huge vassals. And I basically had to bosh them into shape with my redcoats. And I love these little view models you get late in the game. I think these are the best model. I really wish you didn't even get the Grenadier Guard at 20 and just went straight to these guys, even though that's kind of historically inaccurate. It would just be awesome. I absolutely love the redcoat little model. He's so much cooler than the other ones. Like the French guy. Look at this guy. Look at this traiteur. And yeah, that was basically my plan in the game. I did try to go for the spy signs as well, but as you can see, one of the little miners has colonized them all. The greedy little bastard. Ming kind of half imploded and then managed to modernize and has been reconquering it. It's kind of great, this game. I've really enjoyed this first game of Rights of Man. I think I'm going to really enjoy this patch. I'm definitely going to do another campaign. Let's see, I'm going to show you some other funky stuff, like all this Breton Congo. Apparently Brittany has decided to conquer the Congo. Now some of you may notice that, Brittany's still here. The reason why I never killed Brittany is for most of the game Brittany was allied to Spain or Brittany was allied to Austria, or both. So I was never really able to get a easy shot at them. Which, was annoying. Oh, the New World, this is funny. As you can see, I've got Canada here as my colonial nation. And they've done quite well. They've got quite a few provinces. As you can see, this is Norway. Now, Norway was kicked off of the out of Europe, but they had a colonised province over here. So they moved to the New World, and they've been colonising. They've colonised all of this. And you may think, oh, well, that's not much, is it? But look, they're Tech 27, and they're a protectorate of Spain. And you're like, what? What is this? And then you notice that down here, Norway has this massive empire down in Mexico. They've been fighting the Mexican natives and colonizing up into the US, which was very annoying for me because I wanted to colonize Louisiana. This is another reason why I've had a lot of trouble this game in the New World, is that the Spanish hit North America very quickly and with a large colonial nation, and then moved down here, and I just wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that because I was still colonizing the Cape and trying to get the Spice Islands. So they managed to completely get me in the New World, and with how strong Spain was in Europe, I couldn't really get a handle on trade, which was very annoying. I just couldn't do it. You may see the Super Iraqi here, and the cool thing about that is they are my march. Now, when I saw Florida rising up, the massive Spanish colonials, all the Spanish settlers coming in, I decided that I was going to make a native nation strong enough to try and stand against them. So I got the event where I could ally the Iraqi. And that was great. I absolutely loved that event, so I did. And then I was able to, because of my massive amounts of Batax in India, vassalize them. I then attacked all of the natives around them and fed them. And they've done a very good job of keeping those guys all in tow and part of their nation. And it's great. And they've got quite a few troops. They're keeping up in tech. And they're doing better than my colonial nation, and they've got just as a larger army, probably slightly worse because of, unit types. And they've managed to stop Florida effectively expanding up into North America, where I can give Canada a free rein to keep colonizing, which I think was really cool and really clever, because of these natives formed a kind of blockade against Floridan expansion. Unfortunately, this happened really late. Canada, they managed to get around the world and start colonizing America from the other side. So New Spain's here, and there's Hawaii. I really did want Hawaii, but I've been too focused on India over the past few years, with Ottoman coalitions and Ottoman divisions just pouring into northern India, and me having to fight desperate battles against them. This campaign was as I'm just repeating myself now, this campaign was a hell of a lot of fun. There was quite a lot of weird and wonderful little things happened, like Norway. Russia got donked early, rose, and then are getting donked again. Persia's a pretty nice Persia, pretty strong. This Yarkand's real strong. It's deceptive as well. They were actually in India. They probably could have formed the Mughals soon, because they were near Delhi. Manchu managed to form and were actually doing very well. I thought they were going to take Beijing at one point when Ming was imploding, but then Ming reformed and has just donked them back. Muscovy is mainly a Siberian nation. But yeah, I thought I'd just give you guys a little overview of my last little campaign with just, time and time again, Ottoman coalitions, and no land was changing hands in those. I got the achievement for losing 1 million men in one war for like a province. And it was literally, it was a province in Oud in India. I declared war on Oud because I was realising I was running out of time. And they were like 4 provinces up here, and they were like all I needed of India. So I attacked them, the coalition joined in, and it was 1 million men dead on both sides for me to take 2 provinces from Oud. It was absolutely ridiculous. The Ottoman troops just pouring in. So much Ottoman manpower. They had a force of like 350. My divisions are great. I'll show you my ideas. I took exploration as my early ones because I needed to get to the New World. I took quantity as my second one because I knew I'd need the manpower for constant fighting. I took defensive for that morale. I love that morale. Love defensive. I then took administrative for the coring cost. Never completed it. I needed all my admin points for coring. Then I took offensive because offensive with quantity and defensive I thought would be great. More discipline, more force limit, and some better generals would be a good thing, and that has come in really handy. Couple that with my reform the commission buying, 5% discipline, and nothing else really in his military. But then my national unrest, and then as one of my last idea groups, I got humanist because of India was constantly rebelling. So I thought let's try and get that underhand. There was just constant, like every 10 years there'd be 5 to 7, 10 different nationalist rebellions all over India, and I'd have to run around crushing all of those. So I picked up more religious unity and more national unrest. Let's take a look at the religious map mode for this game. Protestantism did well initially up here, but the Catholics have killed them out, being of course the dominant religion in the HRE. Protestantism still has a base in Brandenburg, Scandinavia and me, which are my 3 allies. Islam did great down here. Shia did great over here. There's the Shia triplets as I'm calling them. Kazan, Persia and Georgia are all allied, and Georgia is Shia. Kazan was made Shia, and Persia Shia. So these 3 Shia twins have effectively been doing quite well. It's quite cool to see. Bukhara, of course, the reformed Uzbeks. After they reformed, they collapsed. But yeah, the religious map mode. This is the mess that is India. There's Protestantism down in the south and a few little pockets here and there, but there's still large amounts of Hindus, Buddhists, and of course Muslims everywhere. There was a middle point in the game where I stopped converting territory in India because I just didn't want more revolt risk. I just was going to bump up the autonomy and didn't want to risk massive Hindu or Sunni rebellions because my overextension had to be very high. Yeah, it was rough. So I stopped converting, and in the recent years I've got it down to 9 months, so I'm just converting as much of India as I can to pacify it. And it's mostly working, as you can see. even with humanist and everything else, I'm still at like 1.4. Separation and discontent. Because of, I keep getting those separatist events. But yeah, that's the mess that is India, and that's the mess that is the world religions. Catholicism did well, but Protestantism is got a good showing. And Orthodoxy was doing well, but then got pushed back. I think the real winner of this game was Shia. Oh, Coptics also did great. I forgot to mention Coptics. Ethiopia did very well. Ethiopia got very strong. But yeah, the real winner of this game was the Shias. Like, usually the Shias would just be like Persia and maybe like Gujarat or someone. But yeah, no, they actually managed to form kind of like a little block here. And actually started doing quite well and expanding everyone. And it was kind of cool to see. But yeah, that's my experience in Rights of Man. I know this was a bit of a weird video, but I really wanted to make it. Say my thoughts. All of the Rights of Man stuff is great. I did actually have a revolution in my country, but I crushed it. So, can't really talk about that. I was thinking about letting revolution happen and going along with that, kind of, you know, home of the British Revolution being Britain. Well, of course it would be the French Revolution, I mean, but then I didn't really like that because of I was still getting dogged in India. But yeah, anyway, if you enjoyed this video, thanks a lot. This was just me rambling. But if you didn't, I really do understand.